Hey, this is Luke with the Android Guys podcast. I'm here with Scott. What's up?
Hey, Luke, how are you this afternoon?
I am great.
I'm stellar.
Yeah?
Yeah. Is that better than great?
I don't know. You trying to be better than great?
You think you're better than me?
No.
Okay. I do.
Wait. Anyway.
I think you're better than me.
Oh, no, that's not true. You have a game to talk about?
I do.
Well, what is it?
This is one that theoretically is very near and dear to me. It's a property that I love.
Okay.
Mega Man.
Yeah.
The game is Mega Man X Dive.
Okay.
And it's from a developer known as Nebula Joy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge fan of Mega Man.
Mm-hmm.
All the way back to the original, first game, Rockman, super hard to beat. But I've been a Capcom fan forever. He's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
And so this is an official Capcom licensed game.
Yeah.
And so I thought I would check it out. It's pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah. Okay, so it's a great game that lends itself to the Mega Man franchise.
Okay.
But it's really weird to play on a flat tapping screen.
Okay.
I miss the buttons in the D-pad.
Oh.
That I'm constantly aware that I'm not using a D-pad, but there are some challenges from time to time where you're like, oh, my fingers aren't even lined up where they should be. That's why I got hit by that guy. Or, so you're just kind of like in the game, but then kind of, for me at least, being aware of where do I line my fingers up. Because your left thumb is in charge of forward, back, up, and down.
Uh-huh.
And your right one, you have different buttons in places to do, shoot.
Uh-huh.
And then there's jump. And you can do like a double jump. So if you're not paying attention or you haven't really locked in where your fingers need to be, that double jump with your thumb, you might not get.
Interesting.
But it's not bad.
Uh-huh.
It just, for me, was kind of a departure.
Yeah.
So the Mega Man X Dive is, it's based off of the Mega Man X line.
Okay.
Which is kind of where, for me, as a kid in the 90s, coming into my own as an adult man.
Yeah, yeah.
Right around the time I got, graduated high school, the X series was starting to take off.
Okay.
Which, whatever. It was, it stayed in line with, Dr. Wily and Professor Light.
Yeah.
And some of the other characters, the traits of, you beat a boss and you get his weapon.
Right.
Now you can switch to that blaster or shooter that might be better. Your magnet works much better against this guy because he's metal than it would be to use the needle or whatever.
Right.
So there is that property.
Okay.
It's a pretty cool looking game. Pretty fun. One that I haven't spent a ton of time with, but I'm in to try it some more.
Okay.
I'm not itching to go back and just continually, it's not screaming at me high replay value.
Sure.
But it is a game where I, because I recently switched phones, and so I started fresh with no apps and games.
Yeah.
But it is one that I made sure to install because I'd like to spend more time with it.
Cool.
It feels like Mega Man, but then again, there are points where you're kind of like, well, this feels like what they would do for Mega Man on a touch only kind of thing. So,
okay. It's real time action.
Yeah. So you're basically dropped into the screen and you scroll to the right and, or left and right. And you're just shooting at the bad guys that come across, and you'll see the same bad guy kind of enemy thing, repeating throughout the level.
Sure.
Which is exactly what you would get with Mega Man.
Yeah.
Shooting is automatically done for you in terms of targeting.
Okay.
So if you're just running and just tapping to shoot, it's going to continually shoot and it's going to lock on to people and seems to take care of them pretty quickly. So far at least a couple of levels in, it doesn't seem to be where I have to run back and then try to keep shooting them and avoid them. At the end of each level, there are these bosses, but it isn't like you go into Oh, you don't spend a few minutes going through this level up and down and climbing and doing all this stuff to walk in and fight, the boss itself.
Right.
They're just at the end of level kind of things to do.
Okay.
But as you clear it, you will gain different things. There are different characters and weapons and things that you will unlock as you go. So it does have that value of like, oh, I'd like to see what this guy does,
Sure.
or use this, and there are, what used to be like the pea shooter.
Yeah.
And then you had like the power up one, the alternative. So there's the one where you can hold down and charge up and really blast through things. So it definitely feels like Mega Man.
Yeah.
But it also at the same time feels like this is how we treat Mega Man now.
Gotcha.
I would like to try to play it with a D-pad or some kind of Bluetooth controller.
Yeah.
Or if it's available for the Shield.
Yeah.
I'd love to play it, on that, and check that out.
Does it have in-app purchases?
I don't believe I saw any.
Okay.
I didn't see anything advertisement-wise that was like, hey, this game wants to put its hand in your pocket.
Right.
I don't have the phone in front of me that has it, but no, it just seems like
it's just a Mega Man game.
Just here's Mega Man, have fun with it. It isn't so far hasn't hit me with any like, watch this ad to fight the bad guy,
right,
or to move on.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cool game, and again, I might qualify that and say, maybe at a certain point I haven't gotten beyond this kind of like wall of like, hey, now here's the real game.
Yeah, you've done well in the tutorials. You ready for the real stuff.
Speaking of tutorial,
thank
you for the segue.
You're welcome.
The first 10 or so minutes of playing the game, you can't run free at all.
Yeah,
it is. You see a guy coming and it pops up and this person's walking through and here's what this does, and here's how this works, and push this button. So then you do it, and it shoots, and then you have them talk and say, "Great shot," and that, it's like, dude,
I get it.
Yeah. So the first level is pretty aggravating, but then as you go through the next one, you might introduce like, do you want to jump up that wall? You can do that. Here's how you do it.
Okay.
You might get this random like, here's a thing that pops up and says, I guess if I just get close enough and just point towards the wall and jump, I can kind of bounce off the wall and do that.
Yeah, so they're trying to not overwhelm you with controls, but maybe not doing it as quick as...
Yeah. The first level, I feel like you could have just been drop you in and just run to the end.
Right.
And maybe jump over a ledge or two just to kind of get a feel for that. And then the next level, introduce a bad guy or a couple of enemies that come at you.
Right.
But other than that, that was just kind of a minor gripe.
Okay. Well, you want to put some scores on it?
Yeah, I've got some numbers here for you.
All right. So this is a 1 through 5, 5 being amazing, the best you've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Features, what do you got?
I'm going to give it a 4.
Okay.
It seems like there's a lot of Mega Man here.
Yeah.
And looking at the screenshots and just kind of the Play Store listing, I get the sense that there's a lot of game ahead of me.
Okay, cool.
And so far, just the kind of multiple levels I've gone through and just to play, it seems like I'm in for a pretty good amount of game, especially for free.
Nice. Graphics.
Another 4.
Mm.
It's sharp.
Yeah.
It's polished. It's not the pixelated, 16-bit Mega Man character, but you can definitely tell they're not trying to reinvent him.
Mm-hmm.
He might be a little bit taller, a little bit more anime-ish kind of design, and the things are kind of dialed up for a new generation.
Sure.
But not so in a way that alienates the fan base.
It's not like all these crazy stuff happening on screen at one time. And...
in the background, there's really good detail.
Uh-huh.
And the things that are happening are done in a way that's kind of like, those are cool animations.
You can still tell what you're doing.
Oh, yeah. Nothing where, you shoot a guy and there's like all these crazy explosions and lens flares and like nothing like that.
Okay, cool.
So graphically, it's very good.
Audio.
I'm going to give it a 3.5.
Okay.
It kind of has that Mega Man chiptune.
Yeah.
A little bit of that to it. Normally for games, if they don't screw up the audio experience, I at least give it a 3.
Mm-hmm.
This one I'm going to give it a 3.5 because I have just a little bit, I mean, it just kind of feels Mega Man-ish.
Replay value.
I'm going to leave it at a 3.5 for me now.
Okay.
But I do feel like once I maybe get over a wall, I might be hooked. Once I realize, like, oh, now I know how many bad guys there are. Now I can complete it. And, the original Mega Man titles, you could see there are 8 guys, and you just pick what level you want. This one, you just kind of sequentially, you just keep going through the game. So, 3.5 with some room to go up and down.
And then ads and notifications.
I'm going to give that a 4.
Okay.
They haven't really hit me with anything yet. And that's what surprises me. And again, that's qualified because there may be a point where after each level, you're hit with an ad before you start something. But
with a free game, that's pretty impressive, though.
Yeah. And I haven't had anything that was like, time to come back.
Right.
You haven't played this. We miss you. That you'll start to see in other games if it's been a few days.
Right.
But yeah, I would say a 4.
Nice.
So
that's a solid 3.8.
Solid 3.8. Yeah, it's a game that I look forward to spending more time with, and I think could move closer to 4.
Nice. And that's Mega Man X Dive?
Mega Man X Dive.
All right. Thanks, Scott.
You betcha.